call me king cause I'm that dude. That's true. Said I don't mean to brag. Let me work it out. Forever.
Test on straight face, you remember?
They just living for the moment. We living it like we own it. Killing the comp, crushing every opponent. No, if it ain't about money, I don't condone it. Cash and plastic, still carry the chrome shit. Me and my boo coming through on some grown shit. See who I came with, know who I'm going home with. Fill your glass up, Rose Patronus. 3 is company, 4 better's a bonus. I give you the real deal, other dudes are cloning. All depending on how bad you want it. After the wheels fall off, ride the donut. Put it in the air, we stone it. Like they going man to man, we zone it. Swing it. Nothing is too much is the slogan. Nothing. They just lease, we own it.
Much.
What?
Words that I live by. That's just how I do. I'm young right now, but I won't be forever. So I'ma live it up like that's true. You might wanna roll with me too. Said I don't mean to brag, but I live a life that most can only dream about. Yeah. So baby, come be my dream girl. Pick a fantasy and let me work it out. Yeah. Oh yeah. Tell me where you wanna go, what you wanna do. So we living it like we own it. Said I'm on top of the world. What I need is you. So we living it like we own it. Yeah.
And I'm doing it and tagging both you again. You know, can't hurt nothing.
Don't let the teardrops fall from your eyes.
I like how you did that with all of them.
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Put the video
rib
together.
shot.
Yeah.
If I
Oh, that too, yeah.
if I made you cry, but if you'll forgive me, here's what I'll do. I'll make it up to you. I'll make it up to you. Don't tell all your friends that I'm no good. No. I know that I haven't loved you. I haven't loved you like I should. But if you'll forgive me, here's what I'll do.
His own background vocals.
Yeah, it wasn't that bad.
He cut to the background singers and it was him. I loved it.
Yeah, I love it.
I'll make it up to you.
Let's go.
Yeah, that's how you started.
Yeah.
No shortcuts. No shortcuts. Every day somebody needs me. It's no shortcuts. I wake up stretched, say a prayer, coffee and then some fresh air. Time to get it poppin'. I got a fresh 24. Hopefully I'm blessed with plenty more. Meanwhile, I'm thankful for the fire on the inside burning. I keep earning as the world keeps turning. The thing about life is you never stop learning. Hoping everybody Maxwell, Vernon. You make a plan, then you stick to it. Even in tough times, get through it. So get to it. And make sure your family's straight. We going worldwide, you understanding me, mate? Providing a platform where like minds can meet. Closed mouths don't get fed, want everybody to eat. On Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Twitch. Tuesdays at noon, let's all get rich. It's no shortcuts. Tell a friend to tell a friend about the No Shortcut Show.
Hey. Here we are.
Mic check 1 2 1 2. Testing.
We're here.
We're here. Greetings and salutations, ladies and gentlemen. 'Tis another Tuesday. It is 12 p.m. We know it's your lunch hour. We took a hiatus, a brief hiatus last Tuesday, but we're back today.
Yes. Yes, we are.
Yeah, welcome, ladies and gentlemen. As you guys are coming on in, be sure to leave us a comment. Feel free to say hi. Leave us a comment. Let us know where you are watching from. And tell us what you're having for lunch. It is the lunch hour.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
I had a horrible lunch experience, man.
Yeah, I haven't stumbled upon my lunch experience just yet for today. Well, you want to tell us a little bit about your lunch experience?
I don't want to, but it happens every time. I don't know what, we keep saying we're not going back, and then we go back because it's very convenient. I went to I had to go out and do a quick trip to Walmart this morning. It was right at 10 o'clock-ish, right? So on the way back, I had my daughter with me because she's just started kindergarten yesterday, but they only did yesterday, and then they don't go back until Thursday, like a staggered kind of week for the first week. So she's here with me today and tomorrow. So we just stopped at McDonald's, got the little Happy Meal right at lunchtime, 10:30. I said, well, while we're here, I might as well grab a burger too.
Hey, you got to quiet the stomach rumblings.
Should not have done
at the
it.
end of the day.
They will always let you down.
So you feeling the after effects of the McDonald's luncheon?
Just during, it was like it don't even taste good, man. I don't know why we keep doing this to ourselves. It doesn't even taste good over there.
Yeah. So McDonald's, if you was gonna cut us a check, you could still sit there.
I'm sorry. Chick-fil-A did not sponsor this show, but this what DJ Sticks, Josh Walker, you should have went to Chick-fil-A. That's what I should have done, man. But they had my kids had Chick-fil-A for dinner last night, and I found that out late in the game because they had gymnastics last night and I wasn't there. But on their way home from that, since it was so late, they had Chick-fil-A. So I was like, she's not gonna want Chick-fil-A again. I'll just go get her a Happy Meal. I should have just had Chick-fil-A again.
Yeah. A Chick-fil-A is a little more. You pay a little more, but it's worth it.
It's worth it, man.
A healthier option, I'd say.
Yeah, it's worth it.
But hopefully you had a great week last week.
Man. Last week was good. We didn't do the show. Yeah, we didn't have a show last week. It was kind of a last minute-ish decision because we had so our kids are like we just said starting school this week, but their summer camp ended the week before last. So we had a whole week of them just going to be home all week, and we had already talked about what we were going to do. Matthew Hardison, what's up, brother? We had already talked about what we're going to do. During the week, we were going to go to Carowinds. We were going to do a couple things, jumping jacks, just to kind of get them out of the house during the week.
Oh, jumping jacks down in Lancaster?
Yeah, it's right, 20 minutes from where I live. So
I've been there.
Next time we got to do that together. But my wife came up on Sunday, man. She was like, you know what? We should just go to the Great Wolf Lodge and just spend the night. We were just going to go Sunday, come back Monday. And I was like, yeah, that's a good idea. Let's just do that, indoor water park, because neither one of us really want to be out in the 95-degree weather, So we went to Great Wolf Lodge Sunday, and we was there probably for a few hours. We weren't even there the whole night yet, and she was like, we should go ahead and do another night. So we ended up not leaving until checkout is Tuesday, but you could still stay there until 8 o'clock that night, at the water park and all the attractions and stuff. So we didn't get home until, 9:30 Tuesday night and stuff, because we ended up making a little quick and then extended vacay.
Yeah, and what you're saying right now speaks to exactly what we say here. You have to make that balance out, that time for family versus business and being busy and, the grind. So you all you did was practice what we preach.
Yeah, exactly. It's
been Barry White action.
It's been a long week already for work, and fortunately we both have that flexibility in our work schedules where we can just kind of it's that part of the month for her where she can where she works from home 2.5 weeks out of the month anyway. She works from home. So it's very flexible, and she just said, let's just do this thing. So
Yeah, yeah, that's great, man. And you got a chance to get a little R&R, press the reset button, what
Yeah.
have you. And if you see me looking to my side, since my computer is lagging, I got my phone running right beside it. That's more in real time. So not that
Oh, I
I'm
got
not
you.
being attentive, I'm
Yeah.
keeping up with the picture over here, right off to the side.
That's all right.
Yeah, yes, yeah. So
So what's
welcome,
up with
ladies
you,
and
man? How
gentlemen.
was your week?
Man, my week was extremely busy. It
Yeah.
actually worked out in my favor that we didn't do the show
Okay.
last Tuesday as well.
Yeah.
Just to give a brief rundown, I had a rehearsal on Monday. Tuesday was the only free day that I had, but I still working on songs because I had another rehearsal on Wednesday. Did a couple of extra events that outside of the chairman of the board, so I had to with new music. So with that being said, the chairman of the board was in Shelby, North Carolina
Hey.
on Thursday. So I had rehearsal Monday and Wednesday. We were in Shelby, North Carolina on Thursday. Friday, I was in Columbia, South Carolina. Shout out to our chairman of the board, guitarist, Mr. Rod, the real McCoy. He
The
had
real
a
McCoy.
yeah, he had a show in Columbia at Shay's Lounge,
Mm-hmm.
and he did a theme, Blue Eyed Soul. So
Yeah.
I had to learn some material for that.
Yeah.
And then we did that Friday. Saturday, the chairman of the board, we were in, let me think, Radford, Virginia. Oh, I got my shirt on too. Yeah, shout out to everybody out there. I'm trying to
There
hold
you
my
go.
Radford. I don't know if you guys can see it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were in Radford, Virginia. And then Sunday, I was played my church duties. Shout out to the lovely folks at Mount Dewell Baptist Church who always take such great care of me and others. And then Sunday night, my outfit, Mellow Groove, we were at the Visualite in Charlotte where we accompanied artist Cedric Bowler. He did a tribute to Luther Vandross. So there was
Yeah.
some nice little selection of Luther songs that we did, as well as Mellow Groove performing too. We had a couple of female background singers, and when Cedric wasn't leading, he would come do backgrounds. Brandon would lead, so it was just it was a nice time, man.
Cool.
Great show. And if you guys are friends with me on Facebook, you can go to my Facebook page and see some of those clips from Sunday evening.
Good deal, man.
And hit the reset yesterday. And here we are today.
Yeah, buddy. Here we are. Welcome, everybody. Thank you for joining us. We are live. This is a live show. Marissa, how you doing,
feel free to
Marissa?
share.
Thanks for joining.
Marissa is here, and I don't know if my comments are dragging. I'm on Facebook, ladies and gentlemen, but my computer
we're
is
good,
lagging
Marissa.
a little bit, so I'm trying to
No, you're good.
do my phone over here and keep up with everyone. You know what I'm saying? But hi, Marissa. How are you? Welcome to everybody, whether you be on Facebook, whether you be on YouTube, whether you be on Twitch. Welcome. Feel free to share this to your own individual feeds. We got a great guest lined up for you guys today.
Yes.
And we're excited. We're excited to see what he has to share with us as far as his journey is concerned, the different things that he has going on, the different hats that he wears, and any up and coming projects and things that he has coming down the pipeline. So it's going to be great, especially for you music lovers out there.
Yeah, we gave you a little snippet on the intro.
Yeah,
he was getting his Prince on, playing every instrument himself, doing all the vocals himself. I love that. Josh Walker, you'll be in for a good one today, man. I know Josh is a drummer as well as a DJ, so I know he can appreciate, the gentleman we will be talking to as well.
That's a fact.
Rivers Haley says he's not having lunch, just having Fritos and a great Powerade. That's better than what I had, brother.
That's my guy from back home. Shout out to Sherrall, South Carolina. My guy Rivers Haley.
That is much better than that quarter pounder.
Yeah. Hey, Rivers, if I haven't invited you to our No Shortcuts community just yet, feel free to join, my friend. We encourage entrepreneurship here.
And please, if you haven't done so, go to the YouTube feed as well, the YouTube channel, and just hit a sub on the YouTube channel. I think we have like 50 something followers on YouTube. I know a lot of to sub on YouTube, you got to actually you got to start a YouTube account, a Google account for YouTube, just to be able to actually subscribe to something. So we know a lot of people watch it, but you're not able to subscribe unless you open a Google account. But if you don't mind doing that, if you have a Google account, they don't charge anything for it. You just got to have a Google page to be able to
Right.
subscribe to anything. But we'd love to have some
Right.
more subscribers over there on the YouTube channel. But we appreciate Facebook and Twitch as well. Instagram still
Absolutely.
coming soon, they're telling me.
It's coming soon. You
Yeah,
guys,
man.
you Instagram lovers, you just hang on in there. And soon we'll be broadcasting from 4 different platforms simultaneously. And with that being said, shout out to our No Shortcuts community.
Yeah, buddy.
I think now we were at about 442 members in our community over there. So you guys have really been, we appreciate all that you guys do, you know, and that platform is there for us to share information amongst each other, promote your business, or if you just want to drop, you know, a word of encouragement or what have you, or anything that you have going on. And if you're in the comments right now, guys, feel free to drop your business links in the comments. You know, we all about promotion and spreading the word as far as what it is, what field or industry that we are involved in. So feel free, make yourself at home. Take your shoes off. Just don't go in the refrigerator.
Well, it's lunchtime. Marissa says she learned the hard way about Google and YouTube too, that you had to have that Google account to be able to sub anything on YouTube. So yeah, man, that's what they got to do. Speaking of YouTube and all that, we started the Women, Worth, and Weddings podcast, right? With Juju Lee Events.
A couple of episodes.
Yeah, so I've been shooting that for them. Shout out to them. We did those first 2 episodes at the same time. Since they don't go live, they actually record it, you know? So they recorded those 2 on the same day, and then tomorrow we'll be recording 2 more, and then putting them out,
whenever
in the next couple weeks.
Whenever you guys, I was just messing with you. Whenever you guys ready to have me on, let me know.
Yeah, Women, Worth, and Weddings. I can't even get on it.
Yeah, I can cover the worth subject.
You can do the worth.
Yeah, I'll cover the worth. We'll leave the other 2 W's at home that day.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about it because I think the plan is to have different perspectives. Like they're coming at it from a women perspective, but they're gonna have guests and musicians, and they've talked about me on the show as a DJ. But they're gonna have wedding planners and photographers, but then a wedding musician as well.
You have to have entertainment is part of a wedding.
Yeah, exactly.
And sometimes, just to be, I guess frank, even though my name's Jerry, but sometimes people need to be educated on the entertainment side.
Yeah,
of the wedding thing, and it's cool to collaborate podcasts sometimes. Just for promotional purposes, but we'll discuss that offline.
We'll discuss. This is the show.
This is the show, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, Drew, this is the show, brother.
Yeah, network. Get your network on.
Tell them about our guest, man.
Anita Barnett. Oh man, our guest. Okay, well let me do my due diligence again, ladies and gentlemen. If you see me looking to the side, I'm also watching footage from my phone because my computer is lagging on me today. But let's proceed. Our guest I originally had the opportunity to speak with back in 2020 when I was a part of our platform at the time. It was called That's My Story, which I was a co-host with the legendary Ken Knox, Ken Knox of the chairman of the board, legendary Shelly Clark White, who is a co-founder of the Honeycomb, the lady group, the girls group, popular, from back in the day, and they're still out doing their thing. Chairman of the board still out doing their thing. Shelly's also the wife of Mr. Verdine White, who is a co-founder and bass player of Earth, Wind, and Fire. So we had a platform back then, and our guest at today's guest I had a chance to speak with at that time, and he had a whole setup, man, and he's super talented, very talented. He comes out of the Motown area. He can be more specific as far as his whereabouts when we bring him on, but he's got that Motown in his soul, man, for lack of a better way to put it. Ken, at the time, Brandon and Thomas had traveled up to Detroit when he was working on a project. So, and he can tell us about some of the other artists that he's worked with over his career. But ladies and gentlemen, this guy is a musician. If you were here at the beginning, you got the treat, got to see him play keyboards, got to see him all at the same time with a video. Keys, drums, What else am I missing? Was there some bass action going on as well?
He was doing the
And
lead
what
and
have you?
background
Background
vocals.
vocals. Yeah, he was doing everything.
Yeah.
So if you missed that part at the beginning, ladies and gentlemen, you got to go back and watch the replay at the intro at the watch the replay at the beginning. But nonetheless, so he's a musician, he's a songwriter, he's a music educator, and he's also a music producer.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there's one or two other things that I may have left out that he's going to get us familiar with when we bring him on. And he's been he's a great guy. He's been great throughout the process of us aligning everything up to come on today, and which we appreciate. So, ladies and gentlemen, without any further ado, please help us make some noise while you're at work, in your cubicle, at home, while we're on the screen. We're gonna make some noise.
Yeah.
None other than Mr. Drew Schultz, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah. There it is. Sound effect.
Yeah.
What's happening, Drew?
Oh man, I'm good. We got famous.
Yes.
We got Frank.
Yeah. Frank in the house.
I was waiting to give you the drum hit. Let me see if I can do
Oh, the boom.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, there we go. Yeah.
Yeah, he brought some of his own
Listen,
sounds with him today.
We gotta bring you on every week now.
Yeah. You make him like the music director for the band.
Yeah.
Like the Tonight Show, you know?
Thank you all for having me today. This is great.
Yeah, thank you, man. Thank you for joining us. What's for lunch today, Drew?
You know, similar to Midas, I have not stumbled into my lunch adventure yet. So I think it's probably going to involve a turkey sandwich and an apple. So
Yeah,
There you
awesome. I'm gonna definitely be stumbling at some point after we log off. If not, I'll be stumbling for real.
Yeah.
5 o'clock somewhere, right?
There you go.
Yes,
It is.
Yeah. Well, once again, man, we appreciate you coming on and taking a moment out of your day to about our cause here at the No Shortcut Show, and just sharing with us, about your journey and your individual field. And we just appreciate you coming on to hang out with us today.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I joined the group about a month ago, and I love the concept of focusing on entrepreneurship throughout different industries and finding those common threads between whatever it might be, because a lot of the same concepts will pop up throughout these different industries. So I love it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for that, man. I appreciate that. So where are you from? Where are you originally from, Drew? And tell us a little bit about your family and siblings, if you have any.
Upbringing.
Yeah, I have
upbringing
to look both ways when I'm in Michigan saying this out loud, but I am from Ohio.
Oh, man.
You have to look both ways.
No. That's the rivalry right there.
No, but I grew up just outside of Cleveland, Ohio. Very traditional pathway of being involved in band throughout school. I was fortunate. So the city was Shaker Heights, just outside of Cleveland. Shaker Heights has a rather large infrastructure for their public schools. So we had 4 concert bands and 3 jazz ensembles and multiple choirs and an orchestra and just all sorts of different stuff. In addition to all the Cleveland resources, the Cleveland Music School Settlement, the Cleveland Institute of Music, the Cleveland Youth Wind Symphony. There's just all sorts of stuff. Percussion ensemble, Bill Ransom, who's Beth Hart's drummer. So definitely grew up steeped in the formal training world. Went to school in New York for jazz and moved to Michigan because I love and adore Motown and classic soul music. I am a massive Chairman of the Board fan.
Hey.
I'm talking about the Invictus days, but I'm also talking
Hot
about
Wax and all that.
Yeah, but all the independent releases that General and the Chairman did on their own, all those CDs and all the way to Danny Wood's solo project and Harrison Kennedy's solo projects. And,
wow.
I'm a huge Chairman fan, so I'm a Midas fan by default.
Yeah.
Man, hey, listen, I still have to kind of pinch myself at times because, and by the way, Ken Knox told me to tell you hi. He's got family down and they're on vacation down at the beach. He's with his, I think, daughter and some of the grandkids and some family. But I have to pinch myself occasionally because I used to listen to their music as a kid growing up. You know what I mean? And it's kind of surreal for me to be in my 10th year of playing and performing and some recording with them. So we appreciate, your kind words, man. And me even being in the group, I'm still a fan as well,
Yeah.
if that makes sense,
Wow.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's
Yes,
awesome. That
yes,
sounds like
man.
your love for the chairman of the board is kind of like akin to me with New Edition. Like all the solo projects and all the side projects, you had all that, and then you got to, like, if I got to work with Bobby Brown or something, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's awesome, man.
it's been a wonderful ride, and I've been like that with, I've been a bit of a completionist about the music I love for forever. So it was, I
Awesome.
love the Temptations. Well, I got to go check out all the David Ruffin and Eddie Kendrick solo albums.
Right.
I love,
Yes.
Earth, Wind, and Fire. Well, let me go check out the Interpretations album that Maurice produced, or Phillips
Yes.
stuff, or Pockets that Verdine produced.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've always been with that kind of trying to dig deeper and deeper. So I always joke,
Yeah.
I know a large amount about a very little bit of music.
Yeah.
Hey, we got to add historian into your title.
Yeah, historian. That's right. Soul music historian.
Yeah.
I'm trying, and there's always more to learn. And, what really brought me to Michigan was kind of being that deep into it. I discovered who the Funk Brothers were. And so the Funk Brothers were the backing musicians from Motown Records. They played all the instruments on all these songs by Four Tops, Temptations, Supreme, Stevie, Marvin, everybody, including the chairman of the board stuff. And and I was kind of hounding Uriel Jones, who was the drummer for the Funk Brothers. I was, talking my way, trying to meet him and take lessons with him. And so he kind of brought his wing. And just being able to say that I was a student of Uriel Jones was opened all the doors. And so I was picked up to tour with the Four Tops as their drummer. But I had to move to Detroit to do it. And
And what year is this, Drew?
2009.
Okay.
2009.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that was when I moved to Michigan from New York. I had been working for the Tops for about a year before that as their archivist. So I would call up radio stations and TV stations and footage clearance houses to collect an archive of material for the families. So a lot of it was live performances of the Tops on radio shows. And this was, the internet was still somewhat new and starting to.
Right.
Nowadays, a lot of the stuff that I was able to find for the families, you can just find on YouTube. But at the time, it was like detective work.
Right. Yeah. Finding certain songs or certain albums and things like that.
Yes.
Yeah.
I could imagine.
That's awesome, man, that you were able to make yourself valuable in one way, and then that became like a conversation starter, and until you were needed to do that other thing, get on the drums. That's pretty cool.
Exactly. And at the time they did not tour with a hand percussionist, so my first times playing with them were playing hand percussion, not drums. And I was and still am a fan of the drummer that they had before me, whose name was Benjamin Corbett. Everybody called him Butch.
Shout out to him.
Yeah, he had been the drummer for the Tops since like 1983 or something crazy like that. And before that, Temptations. And I loved his drumming. And, also kind of became a student of his. We would talk about drums. I would show up at sound checks and he would show me things. And
nice.
And so when it was time for him to move on from that position, he kind of pushed me and said, "Yeah, go for it." So,
wow.
Yeah.
Loved him. He was wonderful.
Yeah. And for our people at home, what is a hand percussionist?
Oh, so we're talking about congas, tambourine, triangle wind chimes, a lot of the toys, a lot of
the extras, cowbell perhaps sometimes.
Some cowbell,
a little cowbell.
Yeah, a little more cowbell.
So
I found myself. I was just gonna say I found myself just blurting out a little more cowbell when I hear Earth, Wind, and Fire September sometimes.
Yeah, anytime you hear it, I know. Yeah, we would.
Serpentine Fire, I think, has one of the most iconic cowbell parts. The do 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 do
Yeah.
do. It's like
Yep.
3 cowbell parts. I love it.
Yeah, and it's something about a cowbell. It really does add an element. I don't know if I call it a party element or what, but it does enhance the music.
Yeah, it does. I remember we Jerry and I performed together, and whenever I would play either September or even Blurred Lines was the other one, where he would get on the mic. Here's some more cowbell.
Yeah, some more cowbell. So Drew, if you didn't know, Famous is a DJ, and we initially met somewhat maybe 13 years ago. But I MC with him. We used to do a lot of gigs together before I got so busy playing live music. But we still get the opportunity to work together here and there. When I got an opening, I'll still get a chance to MC and he DJ. Have a great time, man.
Yeah, it's basically this right here, but with music in the background.
I feel like DJs have there's a tough job, because especially now that Spotify and Apple Music and immediate access to any song in the history of the world is available. A band, people understand that it's like, okay, you have to rehearse, you have to know the song, you have to be able to play it.
Yeah.
A DJ, it's like, what do you mean you can't take my request now?
Yeah, we don't get that grace at all.
Yeah.
They want to know why we can't play that song right now. Stop what you're doing and play this song,
Yeah. So you got to have, the rhythm to beat match and blend and sequence songs together, the taste to and have that pathway of songs that keeps people on the dance floor.
Right.
And
I'm telling a story over here.
Great. When they come up to you and say, "Hey, can you play this right now?" And you have to be able to navigate that. So
because that's what they're used to, being able to play it themselves right now. So was drumming your first instrument?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna ask.
I started on piano when I was a little kid. I don't really remember how old, but my grandmother was a professional piano teacher. She had just a practice out of her living room. She taught for decades, and she was my first piano teacher. But I never really stuck with it. I think that at that time in my life, it felt kind of like work. It felt like I was being it was a bit forced, and I regret not taking it more seriously. But having that foundation definitely has continued to serve me well, even though I'm not a great piano player. So that was my first instrument, and then I remember my mom was also in a band, and they would rehearse, and I would go to rehearsals. And I've always been a science fiction nerd. I love anything space related. And I think that for drums, there's this element of, it looks like the most crazy, like it looks like a spaceship to a little kid.
Yeah.
Especially if it's shiny, glittery.
Yeah, exactly. The shiny chrome metal. Yeah, like it. And so I remember as a kid, I just was like, drums are sweet. I want to play drums. And I would watch drummer Brent Buckley. Brent was the drummer for my mom's band. I would watch him as a kid and be like, I want to do what he's doing.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure my youngest son will probably take that same path, because my daughter and my son are taking piano lessons now, and she's more into it. Nice. Yeah, man. Since like April, there's a young lady that comes here to the house every week, but she's more into it than he is, and like I feel like what you said, Drew, like he kind of feels it as like work. And he'll probably want to migrate to drums, at some point.
Drums
but I do
are more
want
fun too.
They are more fun for at that age. But I really wanted them to get that baseline of piano, and then see where it goes. And it's always, especially with them doing together, because I remember when I was growing up, both my aunts took piano lessons, and one of them was more into it than the other. The one of them, she just did it however long she was required to do it, kind of thing. Right. And my other aunt, she still plays right now, so I'm thinking that's what's going to happen with my two as well. But just having that foundation is cool.
Oh yeah. And I would say like different instruments speak to us differently. I guess at the end of the day, is what's compatible to you individually,
Yeah.
So I mean, I started out messing with drums myself initially, but small. I think I've mentioned it on here. Maybe 2 years old. I mean, I can't play a piano just yet or anything or a keyboard instrument, but I was intrigued with the drums so much so pulling pots and pans out of the bottom of the stove, arranging them, beating on them, and everything like that. And then I eventually migrated toward the piano, which we had a piano in the house growing up as well. So then once I got fully submersed in piano, I just kind of forgot all about drums. You know? So yeah, I guess it just depends on what speaks to your heart, as far as the aspiring musician is concerned. So what other instruments do you play, Drew? So we got piano, drums. What else? And we saw the video, of course, but just get us up to speed.
I play piano and keyboards really only well enough to write, compose, and produce. I would never take a gig live as a piano player. I see this artisan saying you play the pots and pans. Yeah. I do but yeah, I primarily just drums and percussion. I sing enough to write a demo and then hand it off to somebody else. The song that you all played at the beginning of the show was one of the only times I've actually formally released a song with my voice.
It sounded great, man.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
But you don't hear all the other takes that I had to go through that didn't.
Oh yeah, but that's the record.
So you're not one take, Drew?
That's the recording process.
Definitely not. You know, and so on stage I'm just playing drums and percussion. But I love composing. I am a gigantic nerd for the building blocks of song structure, of chords and harmony and melody and lyricism and rhyme scheme and metaphor and imagery. And so I enjoy writing songs and then giving them to other vocalists, hearing them come to maybe someday I'll do my own thing, but
that's cool.
No, there's no time limit. There's no time limit, and I think the fact that you're just so what I would assume and I also I guess apply to myself is all of that music that you listen to, you're kind of absorbing it to a degree, even if it's like the way that certain songs may be written musically or lyrically. It's almost like we can be a sponge and then regurgitate some of that stuff as some of the ingredients in what it is that we do, that what we create.
Absolutely. And it's I think it's creative vocabulary. It's listening at a kind of critical level and being able to pick up specific, if you're a vocalist, it might be specific riffs and runs. If it's a songwriter, it might be the idea of, here's a metaphor in the first verse. Well, we're going to stretch that metaphor into the second verse as opposed to moving on to a different kind of lens look at the subject, all that kind of stuff. And with intellectual property and all that kind of stuff, you cannot copyright those building blocks. You can copyright the specific, decorations on the outside of the house. You can
not the inside.
But you can't copyright a song that is talking about love or heartbreak and using the weather as a metaphor, like that idea.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think you're right. That kind of listening.
Yeah, giving your own twist on it, just maybe like stylistically, or maybe the meaning. Say for instance, instead of maybe just settling for writing something surface level, when you can compare to some of the stuff you've heard before, you may come up with a line and you might be like, well, I could do a little better than that. How can I say it? And even when I write rhymes, I don't know if you knew that, Drew, or not, but a little less now than
bass on that opening track that you guys played.
Oh, okay. You knew that was me?
No. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Many hats.
Yeah. So now I kind of do it for fun, but same approach when I'm writing. Like I try not to waste a line, if that makes sense.
Yeah, don't waste the line. I like that. I like that.
Line. Okay.
So
So
go ahead. Sorry.
I was just going to ask. Aside, so are you playing music full time? Is this a full time situation for you financially, or do you also work as well in a more traditional setting?
Yeah, so I'm fortunate to say music is the full-time thing.
My man.
Just playing is
Yeah.
not the full-time thing, but I'm not sure that I want it to be the full-time thing
Sure.
anymore. And so,
Mm.
I kind of have a patchwork career, and so, just last week I was playing percussion for a band backing up a group of singers, and we were opening for the Commodores here in Detroit.
Okay.
And the group of singers were students, program participants, contest winners who all had taken part in community and educational programs that the Motown Museum in Detroit has put on. And their program department is called Hitsville Next. So I'm a teaching artist at Hitsville Next. So I've been able to go in and work with their summer camp students throughout the years.
Yeah.
I served as their educational program manager for some time, and so I think that's a good example of the teaching and the performing kind of coming together. But last week,
that's great.
I rented my PA out to another performer who needed a PA system for a show.
Yeah.
And then yesterday I was in the studio producing a singer who is getting married and is singing their own versions of the songs for the first dance.
Wow.
Okay.
Wow.
Then I'm teaching private lessons, and so it's a grab bag of
Right. Yeah, I love that. That's what we talk about all the time, like finding something to do, wearing many hats, podcast producing. I did a thing a couple weeks ago where I just supplied the sound for a event, just providing speakers and sound system. I was the sound guy, so we just find different ways to make everything work. What were some of the jobs that you had coming up as you were still trying to get to this being a full-time career for you, but you had to do some other things in between?
My dad likes telling this story. So my first real job, that did not involve, because I started playing gigs when I was in high school, and that felt like a big deal. At the time, it was like, my mom would drive us to an area in Cleveland called Tremont, and she would drop us off at this restaurant, and me and the jazz trio that I was in, we would play for 2 or 3 hours, get paid like $50, which I look back at that and I'm like, I can't believe that I said yes to that. But I was in high school, and $50 was a lot of money.
And it was a different time back then.
Yeah.
But $50 a week was pretty great when I was a kid. And didn't have to work.
Absolutely.
So I had done some, music related work. But my first real job was between, I believe it was my senior year of high school going into college, something like that. I worked at a lighting factory. And the lighting factory, I was in their shipping department. And so I ended up doing a lot of the almost inventory management software stuff for just tracking what was coming in and going out. And I would assemble lights for their showroom. So this was like a lighting company that built home lamps and commercial fixtures, that kind of stuff. And I would go into this warehouse, and it was no windows, no air conditioning, pack.
I was just about to say that.
It was just, I respect people who do that kind of work, but it just wasn't for me. And
it's definitely not for me.
Isolated, it felt somewhat isolated. And so the next year, I went back to that job when I came home for the summer. And I remember doing it for 1 week, and I was like, I can't do it. And oh my gosh, Pam Vincent, I am your biggest fan.
Oh, is she on right
Pam's
now?
Here. Hey,
Hey,
Pam.
Yes,
Pam
was on 2 episodes
a couple
ago.
of weeks ago.
Or 2 weeks ago, yeah.
Shout out to her in Hollywood.
There's, yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Inducted into the R&B Hall of Fame. So hey, Pam. But oh my gosh. So anyways, I worked the lighting factory gig for 1 week, and then I said I don't want to do this, and I started playing buckets in the street. in Cleveland at all these different festivals and outside of sports games, and I was busking for a summer, and I made more money busking than I did in the lighting factory, and that was when I was like, okay, never looked back.
Yeah. That's great.
Oh, that's awesome.
I'm trying to be like Pam Vincent when I grow up.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, we all are.
And I don't know if you got a chance to see her episode, Drew, but if you get time, go back and check it. It was our the one before this one. We took last week off, so if you get a chance, go back and check it.
I will absolutely go and watch it. Yes.
Yeah, it was really good. It was really good.
Thanks for jumping in.
So what I was going to ask you, so you mentioned you've worked with the Four Tops. Of course, you've worked with the chairman of the board once upon a time while recording some music. Give us a few other artists that you have had the pleasure to accompany or produce along the way.
So, kind of following up on this, get in wherever you fit in mentality. I noticed pretty quick that a lot of the touring artists who I loved did not have hand percussion. And so I got real serious about getting good on hand percussion. And then when I was able to jump in and play percussion, it was also nice because there were no toes being stepped on. You know, it wasn't like I was I wasn't like encroaching on anybody's territory because there was no touring percussionist. And so I started playing percussion with the Temptations on some dates that they did together with the Four Tops. Fortunate enough to get called by Kenneth Robinson, who was the horn contractor for the Tops and Temps. He contracted for Aretha Franklin's orchestra. So I got to play percussion with Aretha Franklin off 10 years. Got to work with Martha Reeves, got to work with the Contours, the Miracles, the Velvets, the original Vandellas, J.J. Barnes, Melvin Davis, Spider Turner, Pat Lewis, Carolyn Crawford.
All the greats.
And this is why I moved to Detroit, is because so many artists.
And you did it, man. And that, you know what? And that's crazy that you had the vision, like, okay, this is the type of music that I like. I'm going there to be in the scene of this music that I like in some kind of way. I'm going to figure out how to get my foot in the door. So basically, man, you were able to visualize and achieve something, you know, that you had your heart and your mind set on, but it required you to relocate, but you obviously knew that's what it was going to take for you to accomplish that.
Wow.
Yeah. I remember getting the call to move to Detroit. And so it was a vision that slowly ballooned, I think. You know, originally it was just, I want to work in any way with Motown. I was in college in New York. Motown's offices were in New York. Motown's head of the catalog division A&R. So this is the gentleman who's responsible for all the deluxe editions, the reissues, the never before released stuff that finally comes out. His name's Harry Weinger. Harry came and spoke at college, and I knew who he was because I was a liner note nerd. And
read the liner note. We need to go back to doing that.
For real.
And I followed Harry down the hallway like a little kid. Just like after he spoke at this class. And he invited me to his office to meet him, and I started interning with Motown in New York. And you know, so that I was just like, I want to work somehow with Motown. And then that turned into, I want to work with the Four Tops. They were my all-time favorite band growing up. And the archival thing to the percussion thing to the drum thing. And yes, when they gave me the call and said, we need a drummer, do you want to do it? It the bus leaves from Detroit in 1 week. Can you be there?
Yeah.
And I had in 1 week I had to withdraw from NYU and go on academic leave in a way that didn't, you know, count as dropping out. So I had to do all the paperwork. I had to find somebody to take my apartment lease in Brooklyn and make sure I wasn't leaving my landlord hanging. I had to find a place in Detroit, pack up my stuff, move. And it was a whirlwind. And I'm so thankful.
Wow.
Yeah, that sounds crazy. But there was something, you know, you wanted to accomplish, and you were persistent, and then, you know, the opportunity presented itself, and We can do anything we set our minds to.
Seriously.
And obviously you had your mind set, and you got all of that done, getting out of school, finding a place, packing up, and you did all of that in a week. Wow.
Yeah.
I've told this story before, so stop me if you all know it. But
No,
when
go ahead.
When I was in like 8th grade, I think it was, one of my favorite bands was the jazz group the Yellow Jackets, and they're kind of like a West Coast. Some people call them smooth jazz, but I always have said that they're way more than that.
Yeah.
And they came to the Cleveland Art Museum, and my dad took me. And after the gig, I remember I had brought a drum head hoping that they would sign it. And I remember after the gig, they were breaking down their own gear. And as a kid who had already been playing drums, I knew that was, that was not a time that I normally wanted to be bothered, because you're packing up, sure that everything's okay and blah, blah, blah. And I was very nervous, and people were walking out of the auditorium, and we were like the last people in the concert hall. And I was like, I don't want to bug them. And my dad was like, man, we bought these tickets. I drove you all the way here. He's like, you're going to go and talk to these guys, or I'm not driving you home. Yeah, he was like, I'm leaving you here if you don't go at least talk to these guys. So grateful that it was the Yellow Jackets, because the Yellow Jackets were warm and fuzzy and welcoming and kind and nice. And next thing I know, they're signing the drum head. They're taking pictures with me. They're, telling me I'm in touch with them online through their forum and all this stuff. And that kicked off this kind of mentality as a kid of like, I want to meet everybody. And I'm fortunate that, like Pam Vincent, like Ken Knox, like all these, like Uriel Jones from the Funk Brothers, all these people who I wanted to meet were just really kind and wonderful and welcoming. And I don't think I ever had an experience of the like, who are you? Get out of here! I'm not a But I also think that being a young kid helped. I think being
definitely. I think
hard
I
to be
spoke
mean
about
to
that
a little kid.
A few weeks ago, I in some capacity I was speaking about that, but it's so important, man, for when kids, and it happens to all of us at some point. I'm sure it's happened to you since you've been a performer, Drew, on this level you are. You're gonna have to approach you, and they'll say, they'll give you the most wonderful compliments, about your playing and things like that. And I think at that time, our job as performers is to plant a little seed, just to let them know, like, first of all, thank you. But if you're interested in this instrument, you can do exactly what I'm doing. Just stick with it. And always listen to your mom and dad. You know what I mean? I got to throw that in there too. Listen to mom and dad. And if you like this, if you like playing an instrument, just stick with it. Continue to work at it. You automatically get better.
Yeah, that's good stuff, man. That's I mean, the way the story is told from the childhood, and then getting the opportunity while at NYU and having to move, it's like a movie, dude. It's like the music, the drummer version of Almost Famous, Who's gonna play you in the movie?
Oh wow, that's a good question. In the documentary?
I'm flattered. I don't want people to change the channel on that.
Tom, we gotta get Tom. See what Spider-Man's doing. Tom Holland or somebody. Can he play drums? Speaking of, we were talking about the chairman of the board. We're gonna go to this clip here with
great.
Too Many Fish in the Sea.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's check this out, folks.
Yes.
Chairman of the board, the guys who are still with us, Ken Knox, they were also on this Back to Class CD. They did a couple songs, and this one that we're about to do is called So Many Fish in the Sea. And I'm about to teach you guys a little bit about the Funk Brothers. So.
So many fish in the sea. I remember not so long ago, falling for the cutest little guy I'd ever know. He had pretty little cousin, a contagious smile. My mind could move an inch, his would run a mile. No matter how long I found, he to let him go. Whoa, had to let him go, let him go, let him go. There's so many fish in the sea. These that's what all my friends keep telling me. I'm so tired of casting the search seas everlasting to find the right one for me. Yeah, after the time went by.
How about that?
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. Drew had a little background vocals going too again.
Yeah, man. That's
So,
great.
yeah,
That's great.
that's
Now,
from a
Drew,
live
did
album.
you
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
go ahead? I'm sorry, Drew.
Oh no, you're fine. Yeah.
Oh, you're the guest. Proceed.
Flag. It's all right. No, I was just saying that's from a live album from 2019 that we did.
Yeah, and if anybody wanted to get that, where would that project be available?
That one, you can get a CD off of my website, which is drew-music.com with the hyphen in the middle. But it's also on Spotify, iTunes, all the digital stuff.
All the streaming platforms.
Yeah, the original recording is on an album called Back to Class from 2012.
Back to Class.
And
yeah,
a project where 50% of the profits from the recordings go to the Detroit Public Schools music programs. And it was original compositions that I wrote featuring a lot of my heroes. So the four are on it. Ken, that time it was Ken, Thomas, and Richie, the chairman of the board members were on it. James Jamerson Jr., Dennis Coffey, the surviving active members of the Funk Brothers at that time were on it. So Uriel, Eddie Willis, Nick Ashford, Butch, Benjamin Corbett's on there. Yeah, it was a really fun project. And, so that was the live recording from more recently with Habits.
Very nice.
But yeah.
Stuff,
and I
man.
see you have volume 2 coming up in September. I've seen, if I'm not mistaken.
It only took me 10 years, but yeah, volume 2 is probably coming. It is 20 songs of original material, and the guest artists who are performing those songs on the recordings are the Four Tops again. Harrison Kennedy from Chairman of the Board is on the project. We've got Antoine Stanley, who's a awesome vocalist, songwriter who works with Wolfpack a lot. So the Tops, Harrison, Antoine, Dennis Coffey, Eddie Willis, Joe Messina from the Funk Brothers, Willie Jones from the Royal Jokers, Joe Pep Harris from Undisputed Truth, Mark Scott from the Miracles, Reggie Torian from the Depressions. It's a lot of wonderful guest artists who I'm thrilled.
Yeah, and Drew, that's amazing. You know, that the fact that you are able to pull in so many artists to record and do a project with you, you know, that really speaks to your character, right?
Yeah,
and your talent.
Yeah, like they're not telling you no, get out of here, kid.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad they're not, because I definitely lost the cute factor. You know, I don't have the cute kid factor going on anymore. Yeah,
that's awesome. And they're all performing music that you compose, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that's great, man.
2 songs with co-writers on the album. One is there's a gentleman named Tony Clark who sadly passed in the 70s, but Tony wrote songs for Etta James, for David Ruffin, Aretha Franklin, and Tony he was a staff writer for Chess Records, and he had a hit, The Entertainer. I'm the entertainer, the entertainer. Yeah, that's Tony Clark. So his son still lives in Detroit, and his son had this briefcase with handwritten lyrics that his dad had wrote that did not have music put to them. So myself, McKinley Jackson, and Yvonne Vernier.
Oh, shout out to McKinley.
Yes, yeah. So
heavy hitter up there in Detroit.
Using those lyrics. And then the other one was Al Kent. And Al was a staff writer for Motown, as well as Golden World, Rick Tick Records, singer himself, huge on the Northern Soul scene. We wrote a song together on the album.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah. And famous, if you didn't know, McKinley Jackson is he produced some for Marvin Gaye, and and others. The incredible musician, and if I'm not mistaken, he's Proof's dad, Eminem's friend.
Yes,
Proves that.
yes.
Okay.
And McKinley was also on Invictus Records with the Politicians.
Yeah,
On as
that's
chairman of
right.
the board, and McKinley did a
Yeah.
lot of the arranging for those early chairman records.
Okay.
Yeah, and the Politicians. Yeah, that's right.
And this guy is a Detroit music historian for sure,
Oh,
man.
historian.
Historian, not nerd. Historian.
Yeah,
On
we
the
gotta-
on the
yeah.
YouTube chat, we got to put historian, not nerd.
Yeah, we gotta add that.
Yeah.
We had musician, songwriter,
Yeah,
producer,
educator.
music educator. We gotta add historian.
Just soul
And it
music
sounds like
historian.
that we might need to add plug also.
Yes, this guy is the
You know?
plug. Pam Vincent says, Drew, we are truly connected. Yeah, y'all have all those same people. That's awesome. This has been a Detroit month for us, man.
yeah, man.
This is
You're
awesome.
taking it back, and I'm just thankful that I was able to to establish interaction relationships, musical relationships, podcasting relationships in 2020 with guests we had on, and that carried on over into what I'm doing today. So I'm so thankful for anyone that I ask or inquires. I'm so thankful that you guys think enough of me over here at No Shortcuts to come chop it up one more time with me.
Oh man,
so
well,
thankful.
And, I feel like Detroit is one of those cities where I didn't grow up here, and now I actually live in Clawson, which is 5 miles outside of the city, and but it's still everybody still says, "Oh, I'm from Detroit." People who are 20 miles away from Detroit say they're from Detroit, and some people love that, some people hate that.
Yeah,
but
right.
You talk about Pam and Joyce Vincent, you talk about Ken Knox, you talk about Shelley Clark, you talk about even people like Emilio Castillo from Tower of Power. These are all people who
Tower of Power
came out of Detroit and had their career explosions because of their experience in Detroit. And it's like everybody still talks so lovingly of the city. I feel like connection, even if it's one connection removed, it's like Michael's working with Ken. Ken is from Detroit, and so there's that Detroit thing.
Connection.
I don't know. It definitely exists. That connection.
And I think it's just the fact that like so much great music has come out of that city
for sure
through the course of time, man. And it's just and who doesn't love music? Who doesn't want to be connected to good music? So if I was 20 miles outside of Detroit, I'd be probably
y'all
saying
from
Detroit
the D.
too.
I mean, not just Motown either. The history, of the jazz scene with Elvin Jones, all the way up to James Carter on Blue Note Today, and you got hip hop, and you got house music, and you've got rock and roll, and even folk music. It's like there's even a country scene in Detroit. It's like Detroit today still has these very active scenes in whatever genre of music you can think of, classical music.
Yeah,
that's awesome, man.
And
I'm telling you,
go ahead. I was gonna say, when you mentioned hip hop, I thought about Jay Dilla, man, who was so intriguing in his style of production and drum programming. From there,
for sure. And one of my favorites is Royce the 5'9" from Detroit as well.
Oh yeah,
that's probably
so
my current favorite rapper. If I see
on and on.
If I see a music documentary about Detroit music and I check the credits and I don't see Drew as a contributor, I'm not watching it. I'm not watching it because they don't know.
I'm sure he will be involved. He will be involved.
Absolutely.
I appreciate it, but I think that of all the things we've talked about, looping it back to the No Shortcuts aim of connecting the entrepreneurship threads. I think that biggest thing I can say that if I've had any success at all, it's because whatever the need is, if I can fill the need, I'm gonna do it, even if it's not in the spotlight on stage. Playing drums, whatever that need is, I'm gonna try and make it work.
Yes.
And that persistence thing, sometimes I need to retell myself that story these days to remind myself. But it's everybody says when one door closes, another door opens or whatever. It's like, well, if you just looking down at your feet because you're bummed. You might miss that door open.
Yeah.
Sometimes I
don't
have to
look at
remind
your feet.
myself of that, you know?
Yeah, that's true. And that's kind of we kind of call that being a Swiss Army knife, man, just fitting in.
Yeah.
You know, being whatever is needed. Just be that. You know, just be that, because that's
Yeah.
a step closer to, you know, what you're trying to get to. You're gonna get one step closer to that person that needs to see you or hear you. Just be whatever they need
Facts.
in that moment. That's a great story. It's a great story, and that can,
Yep.
like you said, Drew, that can translate to whatever the industry or whatever the dream or the idea is. You can, if you want to be a
Facts.
photographer, you can get closer to that by helping somebody else out that you're not actually taking the pictures, but you're somebody's assistant or, you know, anything like that, you know?
Yeah. Let me get you water.
Yeah. Learning.
Can I get you water?
This is going to sound a little bit heavy, but I think one thing that I'm also trying to continually work on, and I might have mentioned this in our messaging before the show when we were talking back and forth, is this
Sure.
difference between a product versus an activity. And we are programmed to think about the arts as a product. We're programmed to think about the album you buy off the shelf, the thing you hit play on, the video you watch, the show you buy a ticket to, the artist who's on the poster, the name that's in lights, and there's this kind of product branding element to it. But then there's this whole other swath that is the activity. And the thing that kind of opened my eyes to it was a business that it might be national, but I've seen them a bunch around Detroit. It's called Painting with a Twist. Do they have
I
that
haven't seen that.
out there? I'm sure they've
Not
got
to
something
not to
similar.
my knowledge.
Yeah,
I
I'm
have
sure
to
they have
Google
something
that
similar.
though.
And Painting with a Twist is it's like you walk in and they have a pre-designed outline on an easel. You book a party, and so people do it for like bachelorette parties.
Yeah.
People do it
Yeah. I have seen that.
And so you go into this art studio and you paint, and they serve wine or whatever. And so
Yeah.
you
Oh, like
hang-
paint and sip. They call it paint and sip here, I think.
Yeah.
yeah, same concept. And to me, it's
Okay.
like that is less about the product and more about the activity of the creative act and making the creative act accessible to people who might otherwise never do it. And it becomes like a bonding moment for those people. And
Yes.
I think that is probably going to be more important moving forward for the average creative than the product that you sell, because we are entering an age of absolute oversaturation of product. You know, the reason why I'm releasing a 20-song album is because I don't expect anybody to sit and hit play and listen to 20 songs in a row anymore. The competition of, I'm not just competing with music, I'm competing with Netflix, I'm competing with, you know,
Yeah.
video games and all of it.
Yeah. All of
How-
the online things. Yeah.
You know, I will always cherish the activity of having made that music with my heroes and my idols and my mentors in Detroit. And then I know that, you know, the need for the product that is going to hopefully raise money for the schools is in licensing it for film and television and commercials and video games and all that stuff. But
Absolutely.
I know that there will always be people who want the activity. I know that as long as I am offering a safe, reliable, encouraging, welcoming space for people to come and create music, like the person who I mentioned who's singing for their wedding songs, they're not going to release that for sale. That's a personal thing. Or for lessons, just for somebody who wants to learn how to play drums as a fun outlet, you know, whatever it might be. And to not be precious about that, to allow the activity to be more important than the product. And, you know, AI is coming. We're going to have, we think we're oversaturated with product now. It's going to be crazy.
Yes.
You know? Not now, but I bet, I'm talking about 50 years from now. I bet we're going to have.
Oh, it's going to be ridiculous. Maybe not even that long.
I'm not be that long. Yeah. But, you know, can you imagine being able to turn on Spotify and not just hear a curated playlist of, oh, Drew, you like Chairman of the Board and the Debonaires and Melvin Davis, and we're going to put this Northern Soul playlist together for you. Not just that, but we are going to AI generate custom songs for you based on your tastes. And in the spot.
That's crazy.
You know, we might not see it, but that kind of thing is it's going to happen someday.
It's there.
And then what's going to happen is people still are not going to lose the desire for the activity of
to create the activity. Yeah.
Be there. But the product is in question.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. That's good stuff, man.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
All right, I'll get off my soapbox now.
No, that was good.
No,
good.
you're great, man. You're great. It's all gems and whatever, when you hear whatever thoughts that it's like creating whatever thoughts, you got to catch that stream of consciousness. If you feel like sharing it, this is a safe place.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean that's very impactful
space,
as far as, like you said, in all different walks of life and avenues. That same idea of just being active and creating something is just really important, and it'll get you where you need to be, even if it's just something mentally. It'll get it out of your system. Just keep on going with your ideas of creating something and being involved in something.
Creating is therapeutic.
Yeah,
and creating is therapeutic as well for those that do create.
Yeah, it's therapeutic for the self, and it's bonding for the group. Some of my closest friends in the world are people who have been bandmates of mine. This record, I still called all the members of my band from college, who I, started playing with in 2006, and they were some of the first people I called to be on the record. Still, just because they're my friends. We still have a group thread going. Almost 20 years later now, which is 17 years later, we still have a group text thread where we send each other stupid jokes and songs. And,
you know how it goes.
Because of that creative activity, for sure.
Yes, great, and it's nothing like the bonding through music. And they say music is a universal language, and I thoroughly believe that. Thoroughly believe it. Yeah,
and,
absolutely.
Drew, we don't want to keep you.
Oh, you're okay. One more soapbox. One more soapbox trip. The technology side of what you just said about
come on.
Language. If you look at the '60s with Bob Dylan, with Johnny Cash, with fill in the blank, James Taylor, although that's getting more into the '70s, it's like anybody can suddenly pick up an acoustic guitar, play 3 chords, and sing a song and write something. And today, that is the laptop, and that is going to become AI. So that's going to become the entry level free Costco sample of creating music is going to be using ChatGPT to make a beat or whatever.
Yeah.
And some people are scared about that. But what I think is going to happen is that entry level to speaking the language is going to be so accessible that anybody with a phone, and people can already do it with a phone, but I'm talking about anybody with access to an AI tool can create their own song. It's going to inspire so many more people to want to dig deeper. And so I think that, the value of the product of music is going to go down, but man, people are going to want to speak that language and learn even more about it because that entry level is going to be so easily accessible. And so it's scary because the entertainment and the creative world is about to change for music, for visual art, for photography, for film, for all of it. But as it changes, I think we're going to see more and more people passionate about that language and wanting to get into it, even if the stuff is not selling the way it used to.
That's important.
And that's a great point that you made. Like from a positive standpoint, it could push the human creator to dig a little deeper. And at the end of the day, AI doesn't have a soul.
Exactly.
So
that's what we do with so we do because it's already come to the DJ world, as far as AI, like you mentioned with Spotify and stuff. So we do have a quick plug, and then we'll move on. But we have a newsletter called The Future DJ, and it's just about that. It's about how DJs don't be afraid of AI, don't be afraid of these tools, and we're spotlighting every week new advancements in technology and artificial intelligence
Wow.
as it relates to the music industry, as it relates to DJs, and we highlight different, different tools each week that DJs could use to leverage to their advantage, so they don't get swallowed by, what's coming. They can be a part of it. Don't be
Yeah.
scared of it. This is something that could be great for you if you just, come with us. So check out the future DJ.
And can you imagine
Yeah.
a time when, you might have way less traditional DJ gigs,
Right.
but you have a group of like a membership club where that you're leading, where you're having weekly listening parties, where everybody who comes is a DJ because the AI tools have allowed them to learn the beginnings of it. And so instead of just trading music, you've got 20 people rotating and blending and beat matching and switching with each other. And it's like a drum shed. It's like it's like a chop session
Yeah.
for DJs.
Yeah.
And to have almost like I think about like the Eagles Club or those
Wow.
kind of like membership programs where you can come in and take part in this community, and a million more people are going to be interested in doing it because all of a sudden it's easier to do.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, and you already involved in something like that, famous
Yeah, that's
to a degree,
exactly.
with
Yeah,
Crate
that's what I'm
Hackers.
saying. It's kind of already there on the DJ side with Crate
Yeah.
Hackers. We had Aaron, who was the creator of Crate Hackers, and
Yeah.
Dom on a few weeks ago, and it's just
Dom,
that
Aaron,
it's
and
a
Dom. Yeah.
community. It's a community that is built around that's ideas, and it's making things a lot easier for DJs and for people who want to be DJs. Crate Hackers has created systems to make it easier, and for current DJs, make their lives easier as well, so we can kind of advance and still get better if we're not afraid to continue to learn. So shout out to Crate Hackers, thousands
Crate
and thousands
Hackers.
of members, and thefuturedj.com and all those things.
That's
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah, man.
crazy. Now, Drew, if anyone wants to contact you after we go off here online, what's your socials or website? Well, we did the website earlier, but you can say it again.
Yeah.
Oh man, yeah. So the best place is my website, which is drew-music.com. Just Google search my name, it'll pop up. But man, in November of last year, I lost access to all of my social media, and
Oh,
it's a
wow.
mess yet. And in some ways, it's been bad, and in some ways, it's been
Peaceful.
Yeah.
kind of eye-opener. Yeah, it's definitely been more peaceful.
Yeah.
So feel
Yeah.
free to find me on socials, but really, the website's the place to keep up with.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if you had one thing you wanted to leave with our audience, maybe someone not necessarily is pursuing music, but whatever it is that they're pursuing that they may be passionate about, what would you like to, or they're thinking about it, they may not know the next step to take. What is something you would like to leave them with as far as to take that next step?
I would say I don't care if we're talking about music, business, whatever it is that this hypothetical person is interested in who I'm speaking to right now. I would say surround yourself with people like Midas and like Famous who
Hey.
care about this stuff, want to talk about this stuff, want to create community around this stuff, because
Yeah.
it's this kind of conversation is energizing. It brings new
It
life
is.
to the motivation that I may have felt was dying about certain things. And I think that making sure that you have not just a professional network, but a personal network of like-minded people who share that passion will keep that passion alive.
Nice.
Good stuff, man. Thank
That's
you so
great,
much,
man.
This has been
Yeah.
great, brother.
Well, thank you.
Oh, and yeah, and look, we got that one more thing we want to do here in just a moment. But before we do that, we want to thank Drew so much. We kept you a little over time. We normally try to cap out at an hour, Drew. We kept you a little longer than we intended to,
It
but
was
that's
too
what
good to
happens
stop it.
when
That
there's a good.
soapbox is the problem.
Yeah, nah. We need a soapbox, because if you got a soapbox, that means you got some soap.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. We got the the nice body wash or whatever you need. Now here's the body wash nowadays, not necessarily a bar soap. Yeah, man, that's great. That's great. And and I also wanted to say the chairman of the board, ladies and gentlemen, will be in Greensboro this Saturday at Giovanni's. It's a restaurant gig. There's a couple of other bands on the card. For further information, please feel free to visit www.thechairmanoftheboard.com. Yeah.
Love you,
Pam, thank you for joining
Love you
us.
too.
Yeah.
That was a
Shout
great
out to
moment
my
for me
mother.
when he saw Pam's
Shout out to
comment
my brother.
pop up the first time.
Yeah, no doubt. Shout out to Anita, my mom, my brother, everybody who joined us. I couldn't see everything today, guys, but we still made it. We made it on through. Famous, what you got coming up this week?
This weekend, we're just shooting the podcast tomorrow, and then Saturday, private birthday party for Julia, co-founder. Oh, never mind. Well, they're not watching this, but they're not. Oh, it's supposed to be a surprise.
Julie?
Yeah, never mind.
Oh, well, no, don't.
Anything.
Yeah, you might have
I'm
keep
not
it under.
anything.
Yeah, they might be watching, Famous. They'll catch the replay. You don't want to
They
get
might
in
catch
trouble.
The replay is supposed to be a surprise, but
Yeah.
I ain't doing nothing, man.
Yeah, I got you. I ain't nothing. Yeah. Well, hey, Drew, stay on the line. And I'm just gonna do this quick tribute real quick. You got the picture ready, Famous?
Yeah, we're good. Go ahead.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, we just wanted to do a quick tribute because we lost a dear member of our Rock Hill community like a week or so ago. And I just wanted to do a quick tribute to her. Her name was Deidre Pittman. She's a big supporter of my band, Mellow Groove. She also would host us at different events we would play at, and always so gracious, so nice, going the extra mile to make sure she checked on us. You know, we needed anything, food, drink, water, whatever have you. And there was also a period of time during COVID where we couldn't play very much, and I had my son full time during that time, and she also would make sure he was good. He was at the gigs and stuff with me. So on behalf of Mellow Groove, on behalf of the No Shortcut Show, we wanted to just do a brief tribute and say rest in peace to Deidre. Thank you for everything. We love you. And Godspeed the family and all of that good stuff. So we use our platform for many things, ladies and gentlemen. So at the time, everybody was posting on Facebook, and I didn't do so. I didn't post on our Mellow Groove page because we had shows and different things coming up. So just wanted to take a moment to do that, to just show a little love and appreciation for a dear friend that we lost here in the Rock Hill community before we signed off today.
R.I.P.D.
Any closing words, Drew, before we get out of here? Any last icing for the cake?
Just thank you guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Drew.
Yeah. Well, ladies and gentlemen, join us next week. Let's do it again next Tuesday, same time, same channel. Make sure you subscribe if you're over there on YouTube. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. Share this with someone. Like Drew said, these conversations are energizing, and Famous and I enjoy it as well. Don't think we're not getting gems and getting inspiration from this. So share with a friend, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure you guys subscribe, share the community, subscribe to our YouTube. Shout out to Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Instagram. Let's do it again next week. Until then, God bless you.
See you next week.
And good afternoon. I was going to say good night. Have a great week, guys. Peace and love.